Hello everybody, welcome to my latest back catalogue review. This one is on Darksiders 3, and it's something I wanted to do after I heard some news. Before we get started, if you're interested in purchasing Darksiders 3, I do have an affiliate link in the description below. It is an Amazon affiliate link, and it would really help me out if you do use that if you intend to purchase it. But that being said, let's get straight into the video. Now, the news that I heard was a comment on one of my previous videos where I was talking about this, saying how I had loved the Darksiders series all the way from the original right the way through to Genesis, in effect, which is a third-person... it's not third-person, it's isometric. It's an isometric game. It actually came out after Darksiders 3, but it's more in line with the original 2. Now, the problem I had with Darksiders 3 originally was its Souls-like combat, and it had tried to be something it really shouldn't have been. Now, it's true that every single iteration of the Darksiders genre has been different. So, for example, the first one, everyone likened to a Zelda-style game. You unlocked certain items at certain stages of the game, so you got your chakram, I'm going to say, whether that's the right word, but you got your spinning blade when you got to a certain point of the game, and you unlocked certain skills, etc, etc. I really loved it. It was a cartoon or a comic come to life, I should say, so you basically played a comic book, and that's exactly what I was wanting and what I was expecting. Darksiders 2 expanded on that and turned it into a fully fledged loot-based RPG, and I absolutely loved it. It's still my favourite in the series. As I say, Genesis turned it into an isometric game, but the progression was basically the same as the original Darksiders, so it had gone back to the same sort of, you unlocked certain equipment at a stage, you didn't have any equipment drop. Now, in the isometric genre, looking at Diablo and games of that ilk, not having loot was a real disappointment. If it had had the same sort of game style as as Darksiders 2, but with an isometric viewpoint, it would probably have taken over as one of my favourite games of all time. Unfortunately, it didn't, and it's sitting probably second in my list of favourites in the Darksiders genre. And then we come to the purpose of this video. Darksiders 3, as I mentioned before, originally came out as a basically Demon Souls clone. They tried to do the same sort of combat as Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and it just didn't work. Maybe it was just they weren't experienced at it, so it wasn't working very well. But I think people who've played Darksiders before were expecting the same type of combat, and unfortunately, they didn't receive it. Now, the news that I got in the comments of my other videos was that Darksiders 3 has been updated, and it's been updated in a way that you can actually select the type of combat you want, and it does say that one type of combat is similar to Darksiders 1 and 2. So I've selected it, and I must say, it has made the game better. I'm not going to say much better, because although it says it's similar to Darksiders 1 and 2, I still find it very dodge-based. There's dodge and parry, and timing is 100% required. Now, this type of game, to me, works better if you have an Arkham-style combat system. Now, for those who are younger and probably don't understand or don't know what Arkham style is, the original Batman Arkham Asylum had a brand new combat system, and that combat system was that when you were about to be attacked, you would get a little prompt on the screen, and it allowed you to press a button. Now that button, in essence, then parried and riposted that attack. So it was an absolutely brilliant way of getting fluid combat, but still maintaining a challenge. I think that would have worked much better with these games. I think Darksiders 2 had the best combat. It was the best game overall, and if they actually made Darksiders 4, for example, with all 4 of the horsemen and had the same gameplay as Darksiders 2, that would be my ideal game. I don't think I'd ever stop playing it. But again, that's something potentially for the future. Now, I wanted to go into what they have changed. As I say, they have changed the combat, so it is a little bit simpler. It's still quite difficult. It's not the same as the others by any stretch of the imagination. I found the combat in the other two much easier to do, but it has made it easier than it was, and I have progressed much further in the game. Now, the gameplay that's on screen is all early game. I didn't want to spoil too much. The premise of the game is go out and basically capture / destroy the 7 deadly sins, and you as Fury has been tasked with doing that. Now, all of the Darksiders games, apart from Genesis, which is kind of like an outlier, but the other 3 Darksiders games have all occurred at the same time. And by that I mean Fury is walking around Earth at the same time that, well, kind of the same time that War has just had the first game, so Darksiders. Death in Darksiders 2 is kind of on a mission at the same time as Fury is on this one. So it's just after War has inevitably, or whatever you might say, caused a problem for the rest of them. Not his fault, but I'm not going to spoil that, just in case you haven't played that either. Now, these games are beautiful. They are designed to look like a comic book, and they do. Now, my biggest issue with the style of Darksiders 3 is it's the only game in the series that hasn't been basically programmed and art direction? I was about to say art direction. Programmed and animated and drawn by the same development team. So the originals were by a company that was set up by Joe Madeira. Now, he is a comic artist from, I think he did 2000 AD comics, and he started a company. I believe it was called Relic Software, maybe. They got closed down and in essence got turned into a company called Airship Syndicate. Now, Airship Syndicate did not do this game. Airship Syndicate did Genesis. Relic did the original 2 games. And this one was done by Gunfire Games. Now, I believe they have done quite a few games previously. Most notably, they are well known for their Remnant games. So, Remnant from the Ashes and Remnant 2. You can tell that it's the same company because the combat is very, very similar. Obviously, there's no guns in Darksiders, but just the way the combat works is extremely good. Now, difficult, but extremely good. Now, one thing that I do think they have done right is they were the company that worked on Darksiders 2 Definitive... Oh, I can't even pronounce it. Definitive. It's basically Definitive Edition, but they tried to get death in there. That was a really good remaster, and I was hoping when they did that they were going to get more of an idea about the Darksiders universe, but they didn't seem to. Now, there are rumours about potentially having Darksiders 4 coming out. And when you do a search for Gunfire Games and you look at things, there are some places which are listing Gunfire Games Darksiders 4. So I don't know whether that's just wishful thinking and people are just hoping that that's going to happen, or whether there has been a rumour. I don't know. But if they are going to do Darksiders 4, please do it as I say, bring all 4 of the horsemen and make it a loot-based game. That would be ideal. You've done it with Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition. That's a horrible title, by the way. So please do make Darksiders 4 in that vein. But I've spoken a lot about the series and everything else. What is Darksiders 3 like to play? Spoken a bit about the combat. It is easier than it was. It's still not quite to the sort of hack and slash style that I was hoping for, because I do like Darksiders for that, but it has improved. You do have armor, but you have to buy it from a shop. There's no loot dropping. This is very similar in gameplay style, not combat, but gameplay style as the original Darksiders. You unlock different items and different abilities at certain points, I'm going to say. At certain points in the story. Excuse me. Now, I'm not overly fond on that. I do think you should be able to spend skill points whenever you want. You should be able to find loot to improve your character as you go through. I get what they're trying to do, make it so that you have to revisit parts of the world when you've got abilities that you didn't have previously, but you can kind of still do that, because even if you have to buy the abilities, you might not have bought them when you go to an area, and then you still have to backtrack on yourself. So it's a choice, I get, but I do think that it would be better if they played it more along the lines of a real loot-based ARPG. Now, graphically, I really do like it. I think they have, as much as they possibly could, kept the comic book vibe. It's very bright in places, but it still looks post-apocalyptic, which is what it needed to. If it had been too bright with no desaturation of areas, such as the rubble or things like that, it would have looked a bit too forced. And although comic books are colourful, things like 2000 AD and things like that are really grim in their art direction. So I think this does maintain it quite well. The colour schemes, so I don't mean colour schemes, the lighting schemes, I should say, are really good. So going from light to dark, you've kind of got your shadows, and as soon as you go into the light, it really does illuminate everything. Bearing in mind this is not ray traced, it's a PS4 game, so it's not even a remastered version. This is the PS4 game being played on a PS5. It still looks really nice. Now, one thing that playing this on a PS5 does show is that this game was locked to 30 frames per second. So if you're one of these people who cannot play a 30 frames per second game, do not get this, because you are going to notice it. Now, I don't have too much of an issue. I do notice it more now that I've had faster games, such as 60 FPS games and things like that. But it's still not to the extent where, as some people put it, they can't play because it makes their eyes bleed. 30 frames per second is still faster than a TV screen. So if you watch films or movies, or you watch any TV shows, you're watching less than 30 frames per second all the time. So I don't understand how you can say it makes your eyes bleed or makes you feel sick. That being said, it's still not to 60 frames per second, so it's not as slick and it's not as smooth as it could be. So do bear that in mind. Other than that, I think the sound quality is good. The voice acting is brilliant, but the voice actor of Fury is a really well-known voice actor. I've heard her in a lot of different games. For anyone interested in looking her up, her name's Sissy Jones, and I believe she played one of the main characters in Firewatch, that game, and I think she also was Lois Lane in LEGO DC Supervillains. So she has played characters in quite a number of different video games, as well as TV shows, I believe, as well. But she does an absolutely brilliant job here. I love the fact that they have brought the makers back in. Now, these were a big part of Darksiders 2. You never saw them in Darksiders the original, and you don't see them in Darksiders Genesis from what I can remember. But I do love the maker characters, the fact that they're the ones who are supposed to have shaped all the planets, with anvil and hammer of all things. So it's a really good tie-in between the two games. And I do like the fact that they are still very much involved and included. Now, I mentioned the 30 frames per second. The other issue with this game, and it's obviously not a hardware problem, because if it was, the PS5 would have solved it, and I'm playing on a PS5 Pro, so this would definitely have solved it. But the load times are astronomical. You can reload a boss fight and it will take you a good 30 seconds to reload. Now, bearing in mind the PS5 itself would load an entire world in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and that would load instantaneously. The hardware is more than capable, but the load times in this are very, very long. So again, if you're into something that is instantaneous, this game probably isn't for you. But I've already been going for over a quarter of an hour, so I want to wrap this up. But in general, it is a Darksiders game with the same sorts of cutscenes, voice acting, gameplay systems as most of them, and it's still following the same type of storyline. If you like the other Darksiders and you don't mind the different types of combat, etc., this is probably going to be one worth checking out. If you're not into Demon Souls, Dark Souls, or any of the Souls-like games, it has improved, but it's still not quite a hack and slash, so do bear that in mind, because you could struggle. I struggle in most of the boss battles, and there's one that I've been trying for about 20 times now, and I still haven't done it. So if you're not into that type of thing, do watch out for this game. But in general, it is a very solid entry into the Darksiders universe, and I hope it's not going to be the last one. I do hope that the rumours of Darksiders 4 are correct, and we are going to get a final game in the series. Well, hopefully not even final, maybe just another game in the series. I think the fact that we could have a co-op game where we have all 4 horsemen playable, and it would be even better if we could have a 4 horseman squad. That would be ideal. And to balance it, you could just have the other horsemen changed out for bots. Maybe. Sort of, I don't know, Baldur's Gate style. But whatever they do, if they do make another one, I really do hope they do it with loot dropping, so that you can change your character loadout and your skills, because I think that would be absolutely immense. So overall, would I recommend this game? Yes, I would, cautiously. As I say, if you don't like Souls-likes, then try and get this on sale. I mean, I say on sale, it's only £17 now. Again, use the affiliate link below. So £17 is not much for a game, especially with the length of this one. You can put it on the easiest setting and on the lower difficulty combat system. That might help, because I don't have this on the lowest difficulty. But either way, it is still timing based. It's not just a case of run in there and get your character harder, go back and smash them. You still do have to dodge and learn boss mechanics. So if you're not into that, then do bear that in mind. If you're up for a challenge, definitely worth giving a go. Looks great, sounds great, plays really good. So yeah, give it a go. For the price, use the link below, and I'm gonna go. Well, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really do appreciate it, as always. If you have enjoyed the video, please make sure you do click the like button. Subscribe if you are new to my channel, or if you have been here before and haven't yet subscribed. You can tell I do lots of different types of videos, mainly and hopefully predominantly on roleplay games. So if you're into that sort of thing, do subscribe. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know whether you have played Darksiders 3 and what you think. Let me know if you've played it before, gave up, and are intending to give it another go after this video. Or let me know if you are considering just playing it for the first time based on this. Any conversation and comments are really well appreciated. You all take care, guys. I look forward to seeing you for my next video very soon. Bye for now.